After this video, I will have a studio chat, and if you want to hang around, that'd be wonderful. I have a few things to discuss with you. It was day 5 of what had thus far been an incredible adventure across the remote lands of the Silver State. Our goal when we started this trip was Tonopah, which is a good breakpoint for dividing the Nevada Backcountry Discovery Route across 2 seasons. It was within easy reach. But Matthew had to return home today, so would depart us when we reached Highway 266. The morning started off cold, but it was our first without the seemingly incessant winds of the past 4 days. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 5 of the Nevada BDR. And I'm backing out of the campsite here. It's the only practical way for me to get out. And Matthew managed to get it turned around down there. That's good.
All right.
Alex, are you up on 16?
Hey, firm if I'm not switching channels while I'm trying to talk.
Okay, I hear you loud and clear. Oh, there's snow right down there in that little creek. I saw a little bit.
Watch out to the left. I'm already showing it up to 55 degrees, up to 32 this morning.
Wow, we're actually in the snow.
Guess I could have done 4-wheel drive.
Looks like this is the summit.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I had promised Henley and Denver that they could experience the view from the drone, so I set them up with the DJI goggles for a first-person view. We also noticed near us what appeared to be a potential nice campsite. Alex drove up there to check it out and lavished praise on the site when he returned. When Matthew said he wanted to have a look, Alex suggested he drive the Gladiator.
All right, we're driving the Gladiator. This thing is wicked cool. It's got beautiful displays in here, an amazing giant touch screen, beautiful cameras forward and rear, really cool.
A nice trail with the snow piles and the encroaching trees. Yeah, and then we come to a little outcropping of a building here. Look for that orange sign that says federal mining claim. Just keep an eye out for some of the branches that jut out from the side of the trail. They can grab a sidewall really easy. Copy.
Heads up, stop, stop, stop. We're gonna have to do a little trail clearing of our own, gentlemen, but it's light work.
Yeah, the back end of your trailer is getting sideways there.
Yeah, it really wants you to go to the right. I love this.
This is a cool section of trail right here we're going through. Some more mud at the bottom of a hill. Yeah, that's beautiful over there.
I'll walk back a little bit. Couple of holes on the left.
Getting Matthew aired up for his trip on the highway back home. Well, I was going to say goodbye to Henley and Denver, but they look like they're enjoying their naps.
Thank you very much. I had a blast. This was awesome. I really appreciate both you having me along and dealing with the kids and letting me bring them. I think they had a lot of fun, so this was a good little getaway for us.
They were a lot of fun to have along.
Yeah, it was a pleasure
They
meeting
slept
you
a
and
lot.
the kids.
You as well. They did sleep a lot. I think that's just indicative of our life. We need to be reminded to slow down a little bit. When they finally got the chance to slow down, they got some rest, which was nice. I'm really looking forward to our next adventure together. I can't wait. Keep me posted on when we can get back together again. And I've got a lot of work to do. This was a great shakedown cruise for the trailer, and I've got some things I've got to work on now. So I've got my work cut out for me when I get back home.
That's why we go here, so we can find out what other mods we can do, huh?
Yep.
Or what we got to do to fix our previous mods.
Exactly.
Saggy bumper,
Yeah.
loose
Loose
fittings
bolts.
on the...
I mean, we shook everything loose on this trip.
Yeah.
I think this was not a technical trail, but it was certainly a blast, and it really shook you around a little bit, which was
I'll
A
do it
wide
again.
variety of terrain.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
So let me know when you guys make it to Tonopah, so I don't have to worry about you.
I don't know.
Awesome.
And then there were two.
And then there were two. All right, we'll see you, gentlemen.
Bye.
Hasta.
Bye, Matthew.
See you, gentlemen. It's been a blast. I'm going to miss you, and I look forward to seeing your adventures on video. Gonna miss you too. Looking forward to adventuring with you again.
Much different terrain than we were in 15 minutes ago, huh?
Yeah, crazy how it changes on the fly like this.
We're on an Indian reservation. A little snow around us.
Gotta love the nice and warm and still surrounded by snow.
It's pretty steep.
That's a fun little climb. It gets a little slidey there, so watch it.
Oh, I'm going sideways. See what you mean? Like those rocks over on the left.
Fun designs and the contrast is amazing.
Oh, I can get it. May take two of us. Some of these are kind of...
This is a fun little canyon.
I like it.
Next stop is Goldfield from here.
Is it right on this road?
Yeah, we're merging onto that highway, it looks like.
We are headed to Goldfield. A couple miles up the road here.
Not sure the speed, so going 55 unless I see otherwise marked.
Coming up on that right turn if you want to take that first.
Looks like this is it. Oh, it's the car forest.
But we don't want to miss that. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, old steam tractor, those are fun.
Yeah.
Well, that says that's the Santa Fe Saloon. Oh, never mind, I was just pointing to it. I'd say stay on the route. It'll take us back to it.
gas station here.
That's crazy. It's a big enough town where I'd expect at least, one.
Saloon.
Here we are. And there's your old train.
This is Miss Brandy. She has served Alex and I a ginger ale to have here in the oldest saloon, working saloon in the state of Nevada.
Yes, we are the oldest continuously running bar.
Oh, there we go. Okay. And this
And
place
we've
is
been open since 1905.
this place is just amazing. And I'm going to
Lots and
shoot a little
lots of
video.
history here.
A lot of what?
A lot of history in this building.
I'll bet there is. And you were telling me that the Earps were here?
The Earps were here one time. You'll see that there is a little caption about when he was here, and they never owned the place, but they were here.
And the original owner was shot.
And shot and killed in here. Yes.
So Alex, I think we're gonna call Goldfield the finish of the Nevada Backcountry Discovery Route for this trip as we head up the highway here to Tonopah.
Sounds good. It has been one heck of an adventure, and I'm proud to have been part of it.
Don't make it too easy.
I think we could just pull this out of the way.
Probably, but don't make it too easy.
I'll look like I'm struggling. What if the three of us get on it, Mark, and just push?
Never mind, Alex.
That is too funny. All right, what if two or three of us just get on it and move it out of the way? It'll be cool footage.
I'll just pull it out of the way.
You sure you don't want to get active
No,
on
I'll
it?
just pull it out of the way.
Oh my God, that is too funny.
But that's the one at the end.
Oh, hey everyone. How are you doing today? Let me close this over here. Well, let me tell you what I was looking at here. For those of you who follow me regularly, you may remember me going with Bill DeGrew and Susan DeGrew and Mark Driscoll and the Moxleys, Chris and Laura, to Big Bend last year with Gladiator, the first trip for the Gladiator. Well, there's a nice article about it in Outdoor by 4 magazine. I'd encourage you, if you subscribe to that magazine, to pick up the latest issue and take a look at that article. It's a good one. It's written by Susan, photography by Susan, and that cover art on the magazine is Susan's photograph also. So congratulations to her for that. That was really awesome. And good magazine. Recommend you take a look at it. Let me go ahead and close this. Pick up my note card here for this studio chat. So, where to start? I think the first thing I'd like to start with is Mike left us after the first day, and he came to the conclusion after he got back home that he was suffering from dehydration. And I guess I just want to mention that keep an eye on your buddies, and he didn't seem to have any indications of dehydration the day before, but the next day he was feeling really miserable that morning, and he decided that he just needed to leave and go home. But he's decided since that he was probably suffering from dehydration, and of course that can be serious and lead to serious consequences. In the end, he made the right decision without another solution of getting out of there and getting in a situation that was more hospitable to his health. Always keep an eye on your buddies. Matthew's new trailer. He had a couple of problems with that trailer, as you saw. He lost a bolt in the shock absorber. I'm not sure we brought it up in the videos, but he also lost one of his shackles, in addition to the shackle that we stole hardware from in order to reattach the missing bolt from the shock absorber. I just love it when my phone does that. It's sitting here in my pocket. I'm waiting for it to ring. Anyway, that was the first trip for that trailer. Matthew had just bought it right before the trip. And his conclusion afterwards was he really needed a little bit more time with that trailer, take it out on a less demanding trip so that he could shake it out and find some of that loose hardware. Speaking of tightening shackles, when I put my shackles on my rigs, I take a screwdriver in the hole for the bolt that holds the shackle on. I put the screwdriver in there, and then I crank it, not real hard, doesn't take much. I just crank it just, maybe an eighth of a turn, just to make sure that is very tight. There's two reasons for that. The first reason is I've lost shackles also out there on trails. Tower Arch Trail in Arches National Park, I lost 2 shackles in one trip on it. I mean, I know all 4 were there at the beginning of the trip, and at the end I'd lost one on the rear bumper and one on the front bumper when we got back to the pavement, which, if you've driven before, you know it ends over there by Balanced Rock. And I said there were 2 reasons. The second reason is the miscreants who might come along and think, oh, that's a nice looking shackle there, I would look great on my rig and take it. They'll need to have a tool handy. It won't take much of a tool, a screwdriver, anything to poke in the hole, or even an open-end wrench if they want to do that. If you use an open-end wrench, there's less chance you can scar up your bumper, but you can be careful and not do that with a screwdriver. You can use a line-up tool also. As a matter of fact, a line-up tool, Ray taught me a trick for opening jerry cans, the NATO cans that they get pressurized and it can be a little hard to pull up that release lever. There's a little hole in the back of that release lever, and if you get the right size lineup tool, you can poke it in there and then just pull that down, and that allows it to pop open. What happens is pressure develops inside those, both from the gas being in there and also because maybe you fill it at home at 1,100 feet like Oklahoma City, and then you're up at 4,000 feet in the mountains. It's going to be a little tough to open that because you've got all that pressure inside that's trying to get out and pushing that little claw part, pushing it up against this bracket. So a lineup tool can come in real handy for that. You can use a screwdriver for it also, but a lineup tool works out very nicely. So in the back pocket of my Wrangler, which has the jerry cans on it, I carry a lineup tool there, so I know exactly where it is. It's always in the same place. I go over there and I grab that, and I can pry them jerry cans open without any fuss at all. Let's see here. Tire pressures. The Nevada BDR, you saw us air up a couple of times probably and air down a couple of times. You saw some paved roads. We did not show all the paved roads that we crossed. There were a couple more that we had to travel a little ways here and there. Usually we mentioned them even if we didn't show video of it. And so it becomes, do you air down and air back up? If you do that, you're going to be spending a lot of time airing down and airing back up. And if you're the kind who carries CO2 to air up your tires, you're going to need a lot more CO2 than you otherwise would. None of us have ever done that. We all have air compressors. So what do? Do you air down and drive on the pavement? I know some people don't like to do that. My friend Jack does not like to do that with his tires. You got to decide on that. And the way we handle it was we all aired down to around 20 psi, and that's normally what I air down to anyway. That's what my deflators are set to. And if I need to air down more, then I'll do that by hand. And then you hold your speed down. But sometimes you get out there on a road that the speed limit's 65 miles per hour, and if it's very busy, you don't want to be doing 40 miles per hour. Make the locals angry with you. So you just got to kind of play that by ear. But I recommend if you don't air back up when you get to pavement, that you hold your speed down. If you don't want to do it at 20 psi, then try it at 24 psi or 28 psi. But you're just going to run into those places where the surface is just tearing you up. And you heard us discuss it sitting around the campfire. The worst part of this trip was not actually that part on day 4, right before we reached camp, where it got a little technical, not extremely technical. It was not that at all. That, as was described during the campfire, that was a lot of fun. It was challenging, it was fun, it was interesting. It was on the route, by the way. And I've got a map, I'll show that to you. There it is. We were following the route as closely as we could. The area was just washed out. There is another road that Google Earth shows next to that, and you could probably take that road without having to take that challenging area at all. And I could see on my topo map that it was labeled as a 4-wheel drive trail, the dashed line that suggests it's a 4-wheel drive trail. Regarding tire pressures, you don't want to tear up your rig by not airing down. At the same time, you don't want to tear up your tires by not airing up. So see if you can come up with a compromise on that will work for everybody. If not, spend the time airing up and airing down, but I'll guarantee you're going to add a couple extra hours each day just airing up and airing down. Let's see what else I've got here. I'm going through on my Wrangler, which of course I took on this trip, and trying to lightweight it some because I've just got too much stuff. And one of the things I did on this trip was I removed the high lift off of the swing gate. And I have not used that in years. It was years ago the last time I used it. It's almost scary to think about using it for some things like trying to change a tire. And I've changed a few tires. That's why I carry a small jack. I won't go into that, but I do carry a small floor jack. Some will say, you're not an overlander if you don't have a high lift. Well, if you don't have a rooftop tent, if you don't have a trasheroo, I use my trasheroo primarily to carry my pooper. There was a gift I received from my friend Hunter. You may have seen something in the video here about it. And it was a solo stove. It was the small, there's a variety of solo stoves, I guess. It's a couple of 3, 4 sizes, I don't know. It was a small one. He gave that to me because I had given him a few takeoff parts from the Gladiator when I was doing some work on the Gladiator. So in appreciation for that, he gave me this solo stove as a gift. And that was actually quite a while ago. He'd given it to me, and I hadn't been out on a trip. He'd been asking me, hey, have you used a solo stove yet? And I hadn't used it because I hadn't been out on a trip yet. So we finally took it on this trip, So we finally took it on this trip, and we didn't have a really good evening to use it. You saw it at our campfire on the last night. And I was having the camera record the reaction of the other two guys to this stove, and it was actually, it was really good. I mean, they were both like, wow, that lit so easily. Wow, I'm going to buy one of these. This is really, really cool. And it was all of that. And I videoed the whole thing. The only trouble was, it wasn't until I got home and was putting this video together that I realized that somebody had a radio playing in the background, playing some music. And I'm very fussy about copyright. And the last thing I want is to get a copyright hit on YouTube because I use a video that's got copyrighted music in it. Anyway, the solo stove is very nice. The one we have uses, you use literally large twigs, but they say about the diameter of your thumb, so we were scrounging up for large twigs. And it lights very easily. We use some small stuff to start it, but once you get it lit, the ventilation on it is so good that it very easily relights anything that you put in there as long as you've got some coals in there. And it puts out a good amount of heat. It's actually designed to be used with some sort of a pot that you can buy for it. I did not receive the pot with it. I'll teach you a Boy Scout trick if you want to use it for cooking. You take liquid dishwasher detergent and you smear that around the outside of the pot that you're using. And then when you're done cooking, all that black soot that gathered on there, you just dunk it in the water and it'll wash right off there very easily. New gear for me. I have new gear. I bought a Canon R5 mirrorless camera. And those of you who been following me regularly know that I use a 7D Mark II and a 5D Mark III, which are not mirrorless. They are standard SLR, single lens reflex cameras. This is an amazing camera. It came with the 24-105 L series lens, and this combination is just absolutely so easy to use for handheld videography. It really is. I am pleased as could be with the performance of this camera. And it's very sharp also. It has a 40 some odd megapixel sensor, so it's about twice the sensor density as the other two cameras. An amazing camera, and I'm just blown away with it. Since I got back from the trip, I received they're hard to obtain because they're in popular demand, an adapter that allows me to use all my other lenses that are for the other cameras, because this uses a different series of lenses, but the adapter lets me use all those other lenses on this camera body. But this 24-105 that's my workhorse lens on all three cameras actually. But now, having three bodies, I'll have one that'll always have a long telephoto on it. So if I've got something that I need a telephoto for, I can grab that very quickly and use it. I've mentioned it before, but in my videos I use videos and photographs that have been shot by other people. And I do give them credit, of course, at the end of the video. And I just want to highlight something. There are a few people that I go with that are particularly talented at this. And I want to highlight, on this trip, it was Matthew. Matthew actually works for a school district where he handles their communications, and he actually makes videos professionally for them. And some of the most creative things that you saw in the video were from him. And on top of that, he was using a couple of GoPros as well as his iPhone. And then on top of that, he had a drone. So there were a few shots in here that were drone shots that you may think, oh, that's great stuff, Mark. And actually that was, oh, that's great stuff, Matthew. And the drone he has, I'm not sure what it is. It's the inexpensive DJI one that is just below the FAA limit for having to be registered. What is it, 500 grams or something like, I don't know. But it's just below that limit. And so it's not quite as sophisticated as the drone that I used, but it worked very, very well and gave a really good quality product. And then since we're on Matthew, talk about his daughter Henley. She's going to be preparing her own series of videos. And you might remember a sequence on day 2 where I showed him photographing her as she's doing a little narration. And that was her. Each day she would prepare a little video like that. So when that video is published, I'm not sure what Matthew intends to do with it as far as making it public. But if he does make it public, I will let everybody know. I'll probably just put a comment on my community tab on my YouTube channel and let everybody know that Henley's video about the trip is out. She is actually quite a talented little speaker. She did a little introductory video before the trip, and it was really cute to watch. So there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. All right, with all this beeping going on, this is the fellows that I went on the trip with. I've got to take a look and see what they're discussing. Now, Matthew's in Legoland, and he shared this picture and said, "Now this is what I expected to see when we were in Tarantula Canyon," which you may remember we traveled through during this trip. Well, I finally remembered what that one last thing was that I wanted to say something about. And that was one more piece of kit, but for here in my house. I have a new monitor here, and you probably think this is the same monitor as I had before, a large, curved, ultra-wide screen Dell monitor. But it's not. This is a 5K, 2K monitor, and it's a 40-inch diagonal across. The other one was several inches smaller than that. So it's a little bit larger on the desk, but the display resolution is just superb compared to the previous monitor. Really helps when working with photographs, because on this monitor you look at a photograph, you can tell if the photograph is sharp without having to scroll in a bunch, and even then it can be difficult to tell whether it's really sharp or you just scrolled in too much. With this one, you can look at a picture on that whole screen and it will be sharp as a tack if the lens had it sharp and the camera sensor had it sharp. So I really like the monitor. The only problem I have is I'm running an old NVIDIA GTX 1080 card. And there are probably some of you out there who know what that means. You're cringing, oh my gosh, that's old. And it is. It can handle the 5K, 2K over the HDMI cable, but it's a little on the slow side. And I want to get a new GPU, but those of you who keep track of the news know they are next to impossible to find. And even if you do find them, you're probably going to pay 4, 5, 6 times retail price for the cards. So if anybody knows any secrets to getting a new GPU, I'd like to get an RTX 3080. Let me in on the secret, would you please? Because I really can use one. Anyway, thank you all, and I hope you have a great day. And remember to be safe, travel lightly, explore your world.